So we're at the end, or near the end. We're getting there. Just a few more days left to finish up our final workshop, to finish up our final week of reading and notes, to finish up our final writing exercises, and to submit our portfolio. Almost done. Thank you for the work you've put in this semester. Thank you for sharing your writing with me. Thank you for sharing this moment of writing together. I've really appreciated everybody in the class, the amount of work that you put in, and what I've gotten out of teaching this class, which is learning about writing, teaching writing again for new creative writers. I hope you've gotten something out of it. I certainly have. I want to wrap up by talking a little bit about what we do once we've decided we want to be a writer. Now, I want to say first that when you decide you want to be a writer or you want to pursue writing, you want to see what happens with it, you're not like making a lifelong commitment. You are trying something out. Now, that doesn't mean that if you stop writing, you're no longer a writer. I believe we're all writers, and we all have the ability, the capacity for writing interesting things and interesting moments throughout our lives. And you can put your pen down today and not pick it up again for 20 years, and you could still be a writer. On the other side, if you decide to pick up your pen today and you decide to try out writing, and then you decide, I really want to pursue this, but then you get busy with other things and you forget to write again, there's not a reason to kick yourself or to say that you're doing something wrong. Writing is a pursuit, and it takes a lot of energy and thought. It takes space and peace to be able to do it. And sometimes it just doesn't work out with your daily life. That said, some of us, when we take our first creative writing class, or even before that creative writing class, know that we want to write. We know that we want to produce something meaningful with our words and our ideas and our creativity and our music and our voice. We know we've got something to say. So what do you do now that you've taken your first writing class? Where do you go? Well, I want to think about this in a couple of ways and think about what you should do from this point on. Now, of course, what you end up doing is individual, depending on your life and where you go with it. But there are many things that you might think about in order to push your writing, to develop your writing, to take your writing further. So I want to share with you a couple of resources. These are all on our Moodle page. I didn't give you writing exercise this week because there's a lot of resources here on this page where you can go find writing exercises. So I've split this page up into three different categories: sites of learning, community spaces, and production and performance. So I want to talk a little bit about where you can go to develop your writing further. The first is sites of learning, and you might look at writing and literary magazines as a resource. So there are a ton of them out there. We got Writer's Digest. That's Writer's Digest again. These, I don't know what Romance Writers Report was. I bought a stack of writing magazines. The Writer. Writer's Digest again. The Writer again. Oh, here's one. Poets and Writers. There are a ton of writing magazines out there that you can explore. And what's great about these writing magazines is that they offer you interviews with writers. They offer you interviews with publishers and interviews with agents. They get you into the writing culture so that you know what's happening with it. Also, there are opportunities for pursuing writing in here, writing classes, publication opportunities, and then a whole lot of advice on how to write a story, or what you should do to develop your characters or develop your dialogue, or how to pursue writing avant-garde poetry. There are all kinds of pieces of information and advice in these magazines. Another place to look is to look for writing journals or creative writing journals where literary fiction, literary drama, literary memoir is published. Here's one, the Southern Poetry Review. And this is just a journal of poems that were published in the past couple months by different poets across the nation that submitted them to this journal. Now, why should you look at something like this? Well, these kind of journals help you understand the nature of publishing, the nature of getting your words out there to other people. And so you can kind of look at journals and decide, is my poem ready for this kind of space? Should I submit it to this journal or should I submit it to another one? There are all kinds of journals out there, multiple levels of prestige and who they accept and who they don't accept. And it's really worth exploring to see where your voice might go. So I've provided you a couple of links here in this page, Writer's Digest and The Writer, two of the magazines we just looked at. And then there's a couple of journals that you could look at, The Sun and New Reader Magazine, both of whom are pretty welcoming of brand new writers. So you can submit materials to them and hopefully get some feedback or maybe an acceptance letter. Another thing to think about is more classes. Now, right now, English 139 is the only creative writing class we offer at Henry Ford College. If you want more, you should contact the School of Liberal Arts and ask for them, or, contact me. Let me know if you're interested in doing more classes. And if we get enough people interested, maybe we can design one for a future semester. There are a number of other options for creative writing courses in the area and online, and here's just a few. Wayne State University has a great creative writing program, and they have an undergraduate studies degree in creative writing. Just look at the courses that you can take there. Techniques of Imaginative Writing, that's pretty much what you just took this semester. Introduction to Creative Writing, Poetry Writing, Fiction Writing, Honors Project, Topics in Writing and Publishing, Topics in Creative Writing. Wayne State's a really good school for creative writing, and they actually have some really great faculty in creative writing. I've actually taken classes with 3 of these people. Michael Liebler is really active in the Detroit poetry scene. Barrett Watton is a nationally known poet who was part of a major writing movement, and Chris Tisch has been active in poetry and creative writing and drama in the Detroit area for a very long time. You could also check out Eastern Michigan University's program and see what they're offering for creative writing. There are a few other local universities, but not everybody wants to pursue a degree. What I would suggest is that you also look in community spaces around you to find workshops or classes that might be offered. There's also a whole lot of options online for creative writing classes. So this is from the New York Book Editors website, and they offer you just a number of different possibilities for creative writing classes. A lot of these might be dead at this point because they were from 2021, not the writers, the classes might be dead, but there's plenty of possibilities here. And I'll just take you to Gotham Writers. Gotham Writers is an organization out of New York City, and they offer ongoing creative writing classes, fiction writing, screenwriting, article writing, creative writing, and that you can take through an online workshop. Now, of course, we have to say both the university classes and the and online courses will cost you money. So if you're looking for a cheaper route, you might just look for local community courses. Those are some classes to think about, some spaces where you can go and get instruction on your writing and maybe professional feedback. I want to look at some community spaces because I think that's probably where you grow the most as a writer. When you are working with other people at a similar level and you're pushing each other to develop your writing more. One thing that you might consider is looking for student clubs or organizations on this campus or on your future campuses, to see what kind of creative writing people might be out there. Right now, Henry Ford College does not have a creative writing group, but we always could have one. If you're interested in starting one, then go to the student organizations page, go to contact student activities and tell them you want to start a writing group. You'll need a faculty advisor, and I know a few people like me who would be interested in leading such a group. Or you could consider starting your own writing group. That's a really great thing to do. If you can find a group of people who are interested in pursuing writing and pushing their writing, and you get together and you decide you're going to meet once a week, bring your writing in, have people comment on it, write together, you'll grow in that situation. There are also a lot of online spaces to go for support in writing and community in writing. Writers Unite is on Facebook. It's a community for support of writers and ideas. People just post on Facebook and get responses from people, from other writers. Absolute Writers Forums is a space where people go to ask questions, to get feedback, to ask for information, to find out things about the writing community. Scribblefile, and we're going to go to that one. Scribblefile is this great site where you can sign up, submit your writing, and get feedback from other writers. Now, the quality of the feedback, the control of the feedback, it's not a controlled setting, but it's a really great opportunity to let other people look at your writing and tell you what they think about what you're doing. And then Reddit has all kinds of writing groups on it. One of them is the Writing Prompts and Motivation, where people just post writing prompts all the time and ideas and thoughts about what it means to be a writer. So you can check that out to find more community. The last thing I'll point to is the idea of production and performance. Now, this is a tricky thing because some writers will write constantly and never look to let other people see their writing. My feeling is, what's the point of writing if you don't want other people to see it? I mean, why create if you're not creating for others? And in addition to that, writing in your own little closet and never showing it anybody means that you're never really challenging to see where your writing can go. I highly recommend that you look at expanding your horizons for writing. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit more when I talk about my own writing, but I want to just recommend right now that you think about how you might expand your horizons. And here's a few options. There is a really great group called Call for Submissions on Facebook. You have to join it. It's a private group. I've joined, but every day there are multiple submission opportunities that come through where there are new journals, there are books, there are magazines that are looking for writing contests that are looking for submissions. Now, a lot of these submissions cost money. You sometimes have to pay $15 to get somebody to read your work. Usually, what I would say is if you're looking for a journal submission, you shouldn't pay that much to get your work read. If they have a $5 submission fee for 10 poems, great, pay it. You're supporting the journal, and that $5. Nobody's trying to make money off you. If they have a $100 submission fee for 10 poems, don't do that one. Find a different one. For writing contests, there is almost always a submission fee because they have to give prizes. And what I would say is look for a reputable journal if you're going to do a writing contest. Don't do a random writing contest where they're asking you to submit $25 for publication, because what you sometimes end up there is a place that will publish everybody, but then they'll try to sell you more books after you pay your $25. So you want to look for really good writing contests that actually are looking for new writers that have some skill that they want to publish. Anyway, the Call for Submissions page is a really great page. This one that you absolutely need to know when it comes to writing, if you want to submit your work, is Submittable. So I'm going to sign in. Submittable is the site that most journals and most Submittable is the site that most journals and most contests and most book publications will use for you to be able to submit your work to them on an ongoing basis. So I'm on the Discover page for Submittable, and you will see that today, on Thursday, 23rd, here are the deadlines that are ending today. There are just a ton of sites that are looking for your work on a daily basis. Now you'll see over here, some of them, like the House Journal, the Winter 2022 Fiction and Poetry Contest, costs $13 to submit to. Let's just go look at that one. House Journal is thrilled to announce their second fiction and poetry contest. Send them one piece of fiction, 50 to 7,500 words, or up to 3 poems. You may submit poetry and fiction if you'd like, but please send them in separate submissions. You submit the materials, you pay your fee, you're then in the contest. It's hard to win these contests, but it's a good way to challenge yourself to see where your writing could go. There are all kinds of places to submit. Many of them are do charge you a fee for reading, which is understandable because this is a small market and they need to be able to publish their stuff. They need to be able to pay people to publish their stuff. But there's lots of opportunities. There are also many that don't cost money, like the Sad Girls Club. Enter here for a chance to have your literature critiqued by our editorial team. Editors will read all submissions and provide actionable feedback that you can take into consideration to bring your work to the next level. And what you should do before you submit to any of them is go to their actual website and read their stuff so that you know that you're in the right place. These are some of the submissions that I've made. I haven't made a submission since 2020, and all of my submissions were declined. I was trying to get a chapbook published, and so the chapbook submissions were all one contest. A couple of poems that I've submitted in different places, a couple of articles that I've submitted, they're all declined. That's what happens. There's lots of places to submit, but there's also a lot of people submitting, and sometimes you have to make sure that you just have to keep on going with your submissions to see if you can find a place to publish. I lost the screen that I was on. Let me go back. Sorry. One other place to look is medium.com. Now there are a few other places like this, but Medium is a YouTube for writers. Anybody can publish on Medium. Anybody can publish anything they want that's written on Medium. And there are some great things and there are some not so great things that you find on Medium, just like on YouTube. And there are some interesting things and there's some really boring things that you find on Medium, just like on YouTube. So it's kind of a cool site. Now, here's the thing to point out about Medium. You are putting your work up there for other people to read. There's very, very seldom you're going to get any audience at all for that work because there's so many people publishing here. You'll have to do some self-promotion if you want to have people read it. Or if you're like me on YouTube, you've got a set audience you're trying to get a hold of. So you publish it here and then you can send them a link, just like I do with this lecture and other lectures. I've got a couple things published on Medium. I've got a article that I wrote about Joss Whedon, the creator of Buffy. And I've got a satirical article that I wrote about camping with family during a rainstorm during quarantine. Really helps one understand The Shining. It's a fun place to explore and experiment. One thing I'll say is, if you've got a poem or story that you really want to publish and you want other people to read it, don't put it on Medium. Medium is a place to put things that you don't expect to do anything else with, and maybe you get a reader, maybe you don't. What you want to do with the things that you really want to get published is submit them to journals or magazines or contests, because once you submit it and on a Medium, some journals won't accept it anymore. Some contests won't accept it. They'll consider it published. And that goes for Facebook too. If you publish your poetry on Facebook, sometimes out journals or articles, I'm sorry, journals or magazines or contests will not accept it because they consider it published. So be thoughtful about that. The last thing I'll point out is open mics. There are a lot. I had to read something about open mics this week. There are a lot of open mics in the area, and they're a really great place to just go and read your stuff out loud to see how people respond to it. It's fun. It's interesting. It's terrifying, but it can be a really cool experience to read your stuff out loud and see an audience react in real time. Berkeley Coffee House in Oak Park has an open mic, and there are many others out there. What I would suggest is, if you're going to do an open mic, you go to the venue or you call the venue, make sure it's actually happening, and then watch one or two before you do it to make sure that that's your venue, that's your audience, that's your style, that you would fit in there. I was going to do a little poetry reading for you, like a open mic, but I think you've seen enough of my work. You don't need to see anymore. So I'll just say, as for my own journey as a writer, I've written my entire life, or at least since I was 12. I've written poetry almost that long. And my pursuit in writing poetry has always been a little personal, but also a little linguistic and academic. I've got an interest in playing with language. Occasionally it's been because I want people to notice me. I want people to see what I can do. I haven't pursued publishing a lot. I haven't pursued performing a lot. I've done it a number of times. I don't have a problem doing it. But I don't really pursue it a lot. It's something that's on my radar for doing someday. But I just get busy with other things. I do think that it's worth publishing. I want to publish more of my work. I've published a few places. I've been rejected a lot more times than I've been accepted. But I would like to publish a chapbook. I would like to publish a short book of poems. I would like to publish a story somewhere. I have friends who do it. There's a book by a friend of mine, Cindy Bosley. She wrote the Siren Sonnets. And it's a very cool book, very short book of poems that are in sonnet form about sirens. I'm so proud of Cindy for publishing this book and a couple others. I've got other friends that have published, because they actually take the time to figure out how to navigate all those steps. I encourage you to go find a place to publish, go find a place to read, make your writing come alive, or go find a writing group and see if you can make your writing come alive there, or go find a class and make your writing come alive there. Don't let your writing stop on June 26th. Keep pursuing it to see where your voice can go, because there are some beautiful voices in this class. Everybody has the potential for beautiful voice. And I think it's kind of your responsibility with a voice like that to share it, to sing out into the world, and to see who sings back. Thank you for being a great class. I have really enjoyed this and appreciated the opportunity to teach you. Please let me know if there's anything we can do to further your writing here at Henry Ford College. If you are interested in starting a writing group, if you would like to see more creative writing classes, contact me and we'll see what we can get going. Have a great summer.